So welcome to AusIMM's Consultant Society's fireside chats with consultants and professionals who have been engaged with the Consultant Society on and off over the years. And joining us today is Lisa Park. So Lisa, first of all, I might ask you to introduce yourself briefly and then give us a bit of an idea of your professional background and also what role are you doing at the moment?
Thank you, Dale, and thank you for hosting for Consultant Society today. Okay, so I am a mining professional. My background is chemical engineering, and I have been in the mining industry for an embarrassingly long period of time now. When I started out as a young engineer, I did as many do in the process field. I started out in operations, started in pyrometallurgical processing, then into minerals processing, and then into hydrometallurgy. And I think I did spend quite a few years in operations, getting to know different processes, different equipment, and I discovered along the way that I really enjoyed project development. And that then launched me into my first opportunity as a contractor working for a junior mining company. So over my career, I have run the gamut from operations to early phase studies, to mobilisation and demobilisation for Greenfields development project. I've worked with engineering companies, junior mining companies and major mining companies, and I'm currently working with Glencore in their nickel division, and they are a major mining company by many definitions.
Well, that's quite a smorgasbord of experience you've got there.
So it does sound like I've done a lot of different things, and I have, but my main focus has been in hydrometallurgy and minerals processing. And one of the reasons why I focused in that area is, well, typically there's a few more minerals processing projects and hydromet projects compared to pyromet. And there's a lot of process development along the way, and I really enjoy learning. And I have so very itchy feet. So I'm much more a projects focused person than I am perhaps a company focused person. And I'm also very independent. So for me, it's the opportunity of consulting or contracting has offered that flexibility that I've really enjoyed. In saying that, I have no problem switching between working within my own company or working directly for a mining company or an engineering company. And I have done this many times over the years.
Great. And it's good to keep an open mind, isn't it? Because you just don't know what opportunities are going to come around. And I think it's all too easy to fall into those pigeonholes, all those little boxes we all seem to, silos, I think they're called. But that's great, Lisa. Fantastic. Now, what I might ask you, and this is reflecting on your time working as a consultant, and the division between consultant and contractor sometimes can be blurred, but let's think about consultancy. What are the things that you really like about working as a consultant, and what are the things that you perhaps don't like?
So thinking about consulting, so typically I would have a scope of work, so be it a role description within a project, so working in a specific project phase, performing in a specific role with specific deliverables, or as an independent, so separate from the team, with a defined scope of work. And I may or may not be based in a client's office. I might be working from my own office, or somewhere else entirely, perhaps traveling. So what I've really enjoyed are the relationships, the really positive relationships that I've built with people over the years, my ability to contribute positively to projects, and also I enjoy learning along the way, because there's always many ways to do things, and what makes sense in one country or one location may not make sense at all in another country and another location. And just learning those differences I've very much enjoyed that over the years, let alone traveling all over the world, which I also enjoy, given my very itchy feet. So if you enjoy that element, certainly there are those opportunities as a consultant. So onto the things that I find a little bit more challenging. Obviously, as a consultant, there's a huge element of risk management as part of your day-to-day role. And an example of having to manage risk is, for example, some of the decisions by your clients that you might believe expose you to a risk as a consultant that you're not insured or as a professional not willing to accept. So there have been a couple of times over my very long career where as an independent consultant, my company has had to unfortunately withdraw my services when the risk has, from my perspective, become risen to a level that I don't feel that I'm able to manage any longer. So that might sound pretty negative, and I guess at the time when you're having to take those decisions, it can be very challenging. But I think it's important to remember that you are the professional at the end of the day, and you are providing a very specific professional service, and to work within the bounds of your ability to deliver as that professional. So that's really important, and not trying to deliver where outside the bounds of your capability and expertise.
I really liked your point about competency and recognition of your own competency limits, because that's part of this this competent person debate is, how do we recognize competency? How do people recognize their own competency, and where to draw the line? And so, Lisa, upon reflection, either to your younger self or to anyone really along their career path, what advice would you give them if they were considering taking on a role as a consultant?
So I gave this quite a bit of thought, Dale, and I think the best advice I could offer is make sure you know yourself well. Know what your capabilities are, know what your competencies are, understand what is your comfort zone when you start to feel yourself being stretched, and when it becomes uncomfortable, or in risk terms, when it's acceptable risk or when it's unacceptable risk. I think having a curiosity and being willing to drive your own professional development is also critical. And relationships, also having skills to build positive and, depending on your appetite, lasting relationships with your clients as well.
Well, that's great, Lisa. Yeah, well, and obviously the AusIM Consultant Society has a role to play in building relationships and expertise. But it's really good to have this chat with you today, and thank you so much for sparing your time to be with us.
Thank you very much, Dale. It's always great to be able to give back, and I really welcome the opportunity to do so.